Hello there. So today we're going to be moving into Chapter 8. We're going to be talking about Section 8.1, which has two parts. This is Part 1, where we are just going to be adding and subtracting polynomials. So before we begin, we need to understand some basic definitions. What is a polynomial? What on earth am I talking about here? Well, if we break down the word poly and nomial, okay, we see the prefix poly a lot in a lot of different words. Polygon, polyester, um, polymer, all of those sorts of things have the same meaning, which is many, many sides, many fibers, many shapes. Okay, nomial in this example is going to mean terms. So a polynomial essentially is many terms. Um, Terms separated by plus and minus signs that have integer exponents on their variables. That's a little bit kind of a combination between the easy version and the hard version of the definition. You'll kind of understand more as we go. The degree of a term or of a polynomial is the value of the exponent of the variable. Okay, so for example, just skipping ahead here, the degree of this term is going to be that 2. Okay, so this is a second degree term. The degree of this term is going to be a 1 because it's just x to the first power. The degree of this term, it doesn't have a variable, so technically that variable is raised to the 0 power, so this would be a degree 0 term. We'll talk about that here in the next lesson, actually. Standard form of a polynomial, you just write the terms from highest degree down to the lowest degree. Okay. So what we need to understand from today's lesson, if we are adding and subtracting polynomials, all we need to do is combine our like terms. Like terms are terms with the same variables raised to the same exponents. Okay, so looking at this example down here. All right, 3x squared minus 14x plus 12 plus 7x squared plus 8x minus 3. All you have to do, combine your like terms. Okay, your x squared term, that's 3x squared. Well, there's a 7x squared too. Now I also underline the sign in front of it because that tells you that this 7 is positive, not negative. So you have a positive 3 and a positive 7, which when you add them together, you get 10. Moving on to your next term, you have a negative 14x. Again, I underline the negative because this 14 is a negative. Okay, it's not a positive. So the other term with the same variable raised to the same exponent would be 8x. So negative 14 and positive 8 make negative 6x. You just add the coefficients and leave the variables alone. And finally, our last one, we have a positive 12 and a negative 3, which when you combine those, you just get 9. So when we add our polynomials, you just combine your like terms. The answer here would be 10x squared minus 6x plus 9. That is in standard form because we go degree 2, degree 1, degree 0. It's not going to be any different if we have parentheses around our terms. When we are adding this polynomial to this polynomial, you just keep the signs the same, right? If you were to like distribute this sign to all of them, you would keep all of the signs the same. So really in this example, you don't have to do anything special. You just have your 6w to the third. That's going to combine with your 12w to the third. So together that makes 18w to the third. Okay, you've got a negative 8 here and a negative 10. Those are the two like terms there. Those would combine to make negative 18. And then the only other term that we have here is this 4w. It doesn't have anything to combine with, so we just bring it on down. Now this is not in standard form because we go degree 3, degree 0, degree 1. So we would need to rewrite this in standard form as 18w to the third plus the 4w and then minus the 18. And that would be the simplified form of this polynomial. Okay, the only other thing is if we are subtracting a polynomial. All right, nothing's going to change with this one. It's positive. But if we're subtracting this one, we're essentially going to be distributing this negative sign to all three of these terms here. Okay, so you basically just need to flip all of the signs. A negative 4x squared would be a positive 4x squared. A negative 8x, well, that's just negative 8x. And a negative 24 would be positive 24. So use these values down here. Don't use the ones up there in the parentheses. And then you just combine like normal. 3x to the third, well, it doesn't have anything to combine with, so it's just 3x to the third. The next term in line, and we can actually kind of, up here we just went in order from left to right, but if you pay attention here, notice how we have a 4x squared. That would be the next highest term. It doesn't have anything to combine with, so it's just 4x squared. Our next degree would be degree 1, so you have the 12x there, and the negative 8x, so positive 12 and negative 8 make positive 4x. And then finally our constants, you have negative 10 and positive 24 together, that makes positive 14. And because we went in order from highest degree to lowest degree, we don't need to rewrite this at all, so this would be our simplified form.